We live right now. Today is June 2nd, Monday, 2025, and we're doing pretty good right now. I hope that you're doing pretty good right now. I think about topics all the time and something that will hopefully help you. And right now, I got a couple interesting ones, but this one in particular, let me get the title of it. What coffee is teaching me about life right now? I was a little loaded, kind of crazy, and it's like, okay, here we go again. Somebody's talking about coffee, trying to make it, enlightening and all that stuff. But we can do that. This is a coffee podcast, but we're living life, right? We're enjoying life. We're doing our thing and all that good stuff. So that's the reason why I can have a topic like this. Yeah, a lot better, a lot crisper. And believe it or not, this coffee right here is one of the reasons why we're talking about this. If that makes any sense, I'll get there. Whenever I think about something like that, when I ask the question to myself about that and how I feel about life and coffee and what it's teaching me, I think about options, at least right now. That's what I'm thinking about right now is options to choose whichever coffee you want to brew, and it kind of being slightly different, but having the options to do whatever you want. See, a lot of times in life, we have options. Sometimes we take them, sometimes we don't, and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it's one of those things to where if we have too many options, sometimes we get overwhelmed. We tend to not do anything or express ourselves or to take advantage of the situation, right? But I think in coffee, at least for me right now, since I have so many brewers, is that I have options to choose whichever coffee or whichever options to choose whatever brewer I want in order to express myself to enjoy the coffee for what it is for that time period. I think it's pretty cool. And not only just in brewers, it's also in, I guess in my case, water choices. And what I mean by that is that by me mixing different percentages of light roast or medium roast or dark roast, or even to an extent a low acidic profile in water chemistry, I can drastically change the dynamic of what the water really tastes like. And it's pretty cool because it gives me that ability to not get bored so quickly with coffee. A lot of times, especially in my younger days, or even I would say even to like a year or two ago, is that I will literally have about 50, 60 grams of a coffee and I'm good to go. I am ready to go on to the next one, as I coined or say a lot, coffee slut. And now I'm able to just sit there and just enjoy it and express myself differently and see what different brewers will do to a particular coffee, or see what combinations I will actually create when it comes to this whole coffee thing. And I do like that part. I do like the part because it keeps it fresh. It keeps it fun. It's like, lesser extent, I know I'm talking about life, but it's like you're in a relationship, right? And at times it can get mundane, right? And then you have to figure out how to keep it going. You have to figure out how to keep it spicy. You have to figure out different things that you can do within your relationship in order to keep it exciting. That's the same thing with coffee. And I think I like the part that this is life, right? This is life, and this is what we're dealing with. And as we deal with that, it gives us that opportunity to truly, really understand the things that we're trying to do in this whole grand scheme of thing of life. So options. On this coffee, it was a little bit more grapefruity up front. But since, for instance, today, I just use a dark roast profile. This coffee is truly like a medium to light, but with the variations of the way that I actually roasted this coffee, it highlights more of the acidity that I don't really like for myself. Other people do like it, but I guess what I'm saying is that it gives me a different look into this coffee. It gives me a different perspective into this coffee. It gives me a way to where I can challenge myself. For instance, the other thing I did was it was about 30, 40 grams of actual coffee. And on the EK43, they had like a 9. I think a 9. So that's relatively coarse. And I'm really loving these coarser coffees to just bring out more flavor and clarity. I know people always say that stuff, but that's what I'm looking for, especially these days. And now that I grinded up a decent amount, now I will have to use that coffee for what it is. Or I could just put it in a Mr. Coffee machine, give it to my wife for the times that I'm not at home when she wakes up. But I guess what I'm saying here is that when we have the options, when we can play and explore, it's almost like that coffee is almost endless. It has so many different characteristics. It has so many different personalities. And don't get me wrong, I still believe it. It's still true, is that coffee is what it is. You're tasting that coffee for what it is. Are there variations in taste and flavors and consistency? Yes, it is. That's very true. But I guess really what I'm saying here is that the boredom takes a long time to creep in. And by the time it creeps in, ready to move on to the next bag of coffee. But again, it takes longer to get there. It gives you that opportunity to ride and enjoy that journey. And I like that part of it. And having the options, having the way to figure out the coffee. And it's not even so much of a conquering type of thing that I used to be really big on, and I still am. I still like to conquer coffee. I still want to see what this coffee brings to me and how it talks to me and how it gives me that opportunity to truly, really see what I like about coffee at the present time and day. Because, our taste buds change, our likes, our dislikes change. Like I've told you many times that I'm a medium to dark roast person. I love how sweet coffees can be. I love how when you push an African coffee just a second crack, it gives it a totally different personality. And it can be sweet. It can be salty sometimes. It can be something that, that you never really thought a coffee can be. And even now, to an extent that I've been trying to crap out of all these lightly roasted coffees, they all mostly taste the same to me. And I don't know if it's just because of my palate has changed, but now that we have the opportunity to try different brewers, and I don't think you have to break the bank, so to speak, in getting these brewers. So most of the brewers that I have gotten have been $10, $12. The most expensive one is the little cute one, as I call it. It is $25, but it gives you that chance just to explore and to have fun and to see the things that you may thought that you've been missing out on. And I think that's what life does to us sometimes. It gives us that opportunity, especially when we have the options to kind of pick and choose what we want to do with it. We can really, truly enjoy it for what it is. And I do like that part about things, right? Because we don't have any options. We're forced to have constraints. And I think constraints are really good. I think they teach us a lot more in certain aspects as we try to understand the things that we're trying to do in life, right? But I guess what I'm really trying to say here is that there's two extremes and there's something in between when we think about things. Options is one extreme to where we have plentiful of logic and ideas, and we're just trying to truly, really see what we like for that time and moment. And in this case, we're talking about coffee, right? In other cases, same thing. We're talking about coffee. We can have one brewer, one water chemistry. We probably change it up here and there with temperature, with grind, with technique. and all that stuff in order to bring out the best out of that coffee. And when you do that, I think when you do have constraints, it allows you to also be as creative to an extent of what you're really trying to do when you're trying to understand that coffee. In this case, options. Options give you the point of view that you're in control, that you can manipulate the coffee and express and enjoy that coffee for what it is as long as possible, if that makes any sense. But yeah, what do you think about that? Do you think having options is helpful to you? Do you think not having as many choices is helpful for you? I know I've kind of talked about this a little bit here and there, but like I'm saying right now, I think it's very critical that we trust, push, analyze, and be real with ourselves when it comes to this whole coffee thing. Because a lot of times when we're thinking about it, we're going to be like, oh man, this is how it actually relates to me in my workflow, in my life, and how, in this case, for me, having the options to choose whichever brewer, whichever water chemistry I want to use for one coffee, it's giving me that chance to simply love coffee. Yeah. Yeah, this is Oki at Everyday Beans. We'll talk later. Talk to you later. Bye.